Hello guys, so we are going to talk about the data types in C++ programming language. So let's get started with it. Data types in C++. And I request you guys to forgive me for my handwriting because this is the first time I'm trying this software. That's why my writing is not good. I'll try to improve it in the further videos. So let's get started. So we have different types of data types: int, float, char, double, and long double, etc, etc. So we have different types of data type, but the main question arises that what actually is a data type. So if I write something like int x equals 5, then for that matter int is the data type. Basically, see here 5 is the constant and x is the variable. I'll write it, x is the variable. So this variable is holding a constant value. Now the type of that value is integer type, and that's why we have written int here. Alright, so this int actually stands for integer. Okay, so let's talk about the int data type in detail. So if I write x equal to 5.56, but I have assigned x as int, that is int x equal to 5.56. Now let's say I want to print this. So this 0.56 will be ignored by the compiler as we have assigned int to the x. Therefore only x equal to 5 will be printed because we have assigned int to x, and int means integer. Now let's talk something about the float data type. See, now let me tell you what a floating number is. So float x is equal to 5.858. Okay, so this actually is a floating type number. For that matter, 3.33 or any number will be a floating type number after decimal if it has something. Now let's say I write float is x equals 5. So tell me whether it is going to be correct or not. So it's absolutely correct, because see, this is not an error in C++ programming language. This is obvious. 5.05, everything is correct. Now yeah, let me tell you a very important point here. If I write int x is equal to 5.999 or whatever, then when I'll display x, it will display me the 5, not 6. Some people think that this will be rounded off. Actually, this is not rounded off. Only the decimal and part after that is removed. Nothing is rounded off. Alright, so the compiler simply erases, like I am erasing this, the compiler simply erases the decimal and the part after that. So we have talked a great deal about the int and float data type. Now let's move on to the char data type. Char ch is equals a. If I write this, see, I have to write everything in the single quotes when I am talking about the character data type. Alright, this is the syntax. Okay, so let me ask you a question. Can character data type store a number? Yes, it can. Alright, yes, it can. So let me tell you, character data type is actually of two types. For that matter, any data type is of two types: signed and unsigned. Alright, any data type is of two types: signed and unsigned. Now what does it mean? See, signed data type means only positive numbers are allowed. Alright, let me just write it, only positive. Okay, so positive only numbers are allowed in the signed data type. In character, it is from 0 to 256, the range, both including obviously. Now let's talk about the unsigned data type. So unsigned data type is obviously the data type in which we can have both the positive as well as the negative values. So for the character, its range is from -127 to 128. Alright, okay, so now let's talk about again in detail. Okay, see that I told you that any data type can be signed as well as unsigned. So I am just posting the Geeks for Geeks website link in the description so that you can see the ranges of integer, float and every other data type if you want to see. These are not important, but yeah, you should at least have an idea of the ranges of every data type. So now let's talk about double. Double is kind of a float kind data type, but with some higher values. All right, like let's say we have 1000000.74, something like that. So if this is a value, then the values like this, all right, etc, etc, the values like this will be included in the double data type. So let's revise. We have studied that int x equal to 5, or for that matter float x equal to 5.5, or char ch is equal to a. Anything, this x will be the variable and constant will be 5 and data type will be int. So now let's create a program. What are we going to do with the program? First of all, I'll tell you how to input something from the user. All right, I'll tell you how to input something from the user. What do I mean by that? See, if I have int x, float y and char ch, all right, if I have the things like that, so I'll ask the user to enter the value of x, enter the value of y and enter ch. All right, and whatever the user will enter, we will display that on screen. Till now we have not learned this thing to take the input from the user, because we have only written the hello world program. So now we are going to discuss upon that, so stay tuned for the program. Alright guys, so now we are up for the program and we are going to write the program for various data types and we'll display the value entered by the user. So now I think you all know about this hash include IOStream and the basic syntax of C++ programming language which I am writing. I told you all this in the previous video. Now see, this is the way of declaring these variables: int x semicolon, float y semicolon and char ch semicolon. So I write enter any integer. All right, enter any integer and I'll see in x. All right, see, this c in actually is the thing how we input. Its full form is console input, and x means console input, which means input the value of x, take the value of x. So you have entered. Now we are going to display what the user has entered. So we'll simply write here x and the value will get displayed. Now we'll write here end l. End l means end line function. All right, this function will help us to go to the new line. You'll see this in the output when I'll run the code. All right, okay, so now I'm going to copy paste this thing 2 times because I'm going to just change in this only. Enter any, let's say, floating value. All right, floating value. Okay, and c in, this time we have to c in y. Okay, and we have to display y also. Now enter any character. Okay, I'll write enter any character and I'll see in ch. All right, c in ch. Okay, so you have entered ch. All right guys, so now let's build this program and see the output. So enter an integer. See, I enter 3 in everything. All right, I'll enter 3 in everything. Enter an integer. I have entered 3. I have entered 3 and I have entered 3. Okay guys, so you saw I entered 3 in all of them and the program ran successfully, which means that whatever I taught you, the syntax was absolutely correct. All right, now see, I have entered 3, I have entered 3.3 and I have entered a. So this is also correct. So guys, this is all about this program. All right, and in this program we learned how to input anything from the user using this cin function, console input function, and obviously we learned about the data types. In next video I'll tell you something about the identifiers and we are going to also study about different types of operators. So like, share and subscribe.